The famed sabered hand. Who exactly is Jedi Master Kelleran Beck? Since Grogu's debut in the first season of The Mandalorian, and the revelation of his importance to the greater Star Wars galaxy, several questions surrounding the character's elusive backstory have been raised. For almost 2 complete seasons, we did not even know his name, let alone his history, nor his heritage. But as The Mandalorian continues to unravel, we are graced with more and more answers surrounding Din Djarin's faithful foundling. One of the most significant revelations was the fact that Grogu was present on Coruscant during Order 66 and Operation Nightfall, and bore witness to the Siege of Nightfall, wherein hundreds of Jedi were massacred overnight. Given his inability to defend himself, fans quickly concluded that someone must have saved Grogu from the armada of clones bent on his death. And for years, we have been scouring through the evidence to determine who this noble Jedi may have been. Now though, the wait is over, as we know that Jedi Master Kelleran Beck is responsible for the salvation of Grogu. In the episode The Foundling, we are finally introduced to the Jedi Knight responsible for Grogu's survival, and we get to see much more about the faithful knight from Grogu's perspective. But who exactly is Kelleran Beck? What is his wider role in the Jedi Order? And what is his backstory? Kelleran Beck was a noble and a seasoned teacher of Jedi younglings. We know, thanks to comments made by legendary Star Wars actor Ahmed Best, that Kelleran Beck was more of an educator rather than a soldier, and he particularly specialized in the youngling stage of education, overseeing the youngling trials and helping new initiates in the very first basic steps of their Jedi training. While the Jedi educational system tends to focus more on Sindralig and his combat courses, or Grandmaster Yoda and his classroom, Beck oversaw the younglings before any of them could even get to these stages. Known formally as the Sabered Hand, Beck was an incredibly talented swordsman in his own right, though he often preferred to spend his energy on academia. However, Kelleran Beck is a very interesting Jedi, as we believe that his worldview deviates from that of the rest of the Jedi Order during the Clone Wars era, and he has a much more open-minded approach to the intricacies of the Force and its will, rather than the strict Jedi dogma that the Order had fallen into. Again, thanks to comments made by Ahmed Best. This would be his philosophies and put them more in line with Qui-Gon Jinn or even Luke Skywalker. Luke being a Jedi whose philosophies come far after the fall of the Republic, unlike someone like Yoda, whose worldview had become cemented over centuries of training and experience. Though Kelleran preferred academia, this is not to diminish his abilities as a warrior, which were on full display in this latest episode. What's interesting to note about this encounter with the clone troopers in the 501st Legion is his distinct use of Jar Kai dual blade fencing. Once the elevator opens and he notices a second lightsaber, he does not hesitate to grab it, even though this means he will have to adapt his natural style in order to accommodate a second blade. This is, however, ultimately what allows him to not only survive, but get Grogu to safety. After making his way out of the Jedi Temple, we see that he is able to meet with the contacts of his own, which, based on their attire and choice of starship, seem to be from the world of Naboo. What's extremely important to note here is that the Jedi Temple has 2 primary ties to Naboo, the first of which is Palpatine himself, who hails from Naboo and could be argued to be their greatest claim to fame in the wider galaxy. The second, of course, is Padme Amidala, former Queen elected senator who also stems from Naboo. It's reasonable to conclude that these soldiers are not loyal to Palpatine, which leaves us to wonder if this introduction was in some way through Padme, or whether the Jedi and the Naboo forces overlapped in such a manner that it would allow Beck to make his fateful contact. After escaping, however, he likely would not have returned to Naboo, seeing as it had become one of the earliest Imperial strongholds in the burgeoning Empire, the home of Sidious, with Sidious quickly planting a stake to his home world and winning their loyalty nearly instantaneously. From here, unfortunately, we do not know yet where Beck escaped to or how long he survived, given that there is roughly a 30-year time span in between this event and the time when Din Djarin found Grogu during the first season of The Mandalorian. But concerning Kelleran Beck, what else do we know about the character? First off, Beck is played by none other than Ahmed Best, the actor best known for providing the performance and motion capture for Jar Jar Binks during the prequel trilogy, a character largely known for enduring severe backlash Throughout the prequels, Jar Jar was one of the most heavily criticized aspects of this new generation of Star Wars, which not only left a mark on the trilogy as a whole, but Ahmed Best himself, who was particularly wounded by the hateful remarks from fans. He is on record, however, talking about this particular role and the redemption that it allowed him for this universe. The role of Kelleran Beck was initially designed by Disney for a children's game show by the name of Star Wars Jedi Temple Challenge, wherein Beck and his trusty sidekick, AD3, would lead children through an array of different challenges. These games were designed to test loyalty, bravery, and principle, among other factors that contribute to being a successful Jedi Knight. Inspired by the archetypes of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda as wise mentors, Ahmed Best crafted a character which paid homage to these legacies, as well as integrated this into the character's backstory in-universe. He was not only able to model the character on these two famous Jedi, but was able to bake their inspiration into his arc and his depiction of this particularly academic Jedi. Now, however, Beck is quickly becoming known as the Jedi responsible for saving Grogu's life and altering the course of galactic history. Another interesting note about the character of Kelleran Beck that appears to have been changed for the Mandalorian is that originally, Kelleran wielded a purple lightsaber to pay homage to Mace Windu. However, this appears to have been altered and be more in line with his consular and teacher-like beliefs, representative of the Emerald Blade. It's clear though that now Ahmed Best is an integral part of the Star Wars lore, being the savior of Grogu, and it can all be traced back to one seemingly innocuous Jedi teacher who took it upon himself to look after his students for one last time. In this moment, Beck sealed hundreds of years of galactic history and will watch as Grogu burns his mark into the universe, all thanks to the selfless actions of his devoted teacher, his devoted guardian, responsible for Grogu's protection until the very end. An amazing reintroduction into the great actor Ahmed Best, as we hope to learn far more about Kelleran Beck and his interesting look on the Force in the future. But anyway, my friends and acolytes, what are your thoughts on the Sabered Hand and the extremely wise, skilled, and powerful Jedi Master of Kelleran Beck? And what parts of his backstory and future story would you like to see displayed on screen in The Mandalorian, and perhaps even further? As always, my friends, thank you so much for visiting our archives and supporting our channel. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.